Before we begin this night prayer, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like this video. It truly helps us reach more hearts who need comfort tonight. It's so quiet tonight, the kind of quiet that doesn't just fill the room. It presses on your chest, that soft kind of stillness where even the air feels heavy and you can't quite tell if you're holding your breath or if your breath is holding you. And somewhere inside that hush, there's a pain that doesn't scream, doesn't cry out loud, doesn't break dishes or slam doors. It just sits there, silent, constant, present. Maybe you've had days where everything looked normal on the outside. You answered texts, you smiled politely. You nodded when someone said something kind. But underneath that small, composed surface, something was aching. Not the kind of ache you can point to or explain. Just ache, like a bruise inside your soul that won't stop throbbing, even though no one sees the mark. And maybe tonight, as you lie in bed, you're not even asking for answers anymore. Not looking for reasons, not trying to fix it or make it disappear. You just want some kind of relief. Not the loud kind, not the dramatic miracle, just a soft covering, a quiet, I'm here, a God who doesn't need words to understand. So tonight, we pray not with eloquent phrases or declarations of strength, but with sighs, with the heaviness that's too tired to lift itself, with the kind of honesty that only shows up when it's too late and you're too weary to pretend. God, you see this pain, even the parts I've hidden from myself, even the ones I've tried to ignore all day. I didn't mean to carry them into bed with me again. They just followed, like shadows that know the way by heart. I didn't invite them, but they never knock. I don't even know how to ask you to take them tonight. I just know I can't hold them the way I've been holding them. I'm not strong enough. I'm not numb enough. I'm not distracted enough. They've gotten louder in the quiet. They've curled up next to me, whispering the same stories I've heard too many times. Stories of loss, of failure, of not being enough. But you don't need me to be loud. You don't need me to explain. You know what this pain is. You know where it began, even if I don't. You know what it costs me every day to smile through it, to function around it, to pretend I'm okay. And you're not asking me to do any of that right now. You're just here, in the dark, in the stillness, in the breath I barely notice. I'm taking, so I don't have to prove anything to you tonight. I don't have to fake peace. I don't have to force healing. I just have to be here and let you be here with me. And maybe that's the beginning of something soft, something safe, something kind. Maybe that's what healing looks like sometimes. Not the absence of pain, but the presence of love beside it. The kind that doesn't hurry me or push me or ask me to be okay before I'm ready. The kind that wraps around my wounds and says, you're allowed to hurt, you're allowed to rest, because I've been holding too much. I've been pretending too well. And the truth is, I'm tired. Not the kind of tired a nap can fix. The kind that settles into your bones. The kind that feels like weariness in your very soul. The kind of tired that comes from carrying pain that hasn't been spoken, because maybe it couldn't be, or maybe it just didn't feel safe. But tonight, God, I want to lay some of it down, even if I don't know how, even if I can't say it out loud, even if I wake up and it's still there. I just want to know that you're holding me, that while I sleep, or even if I can't, you're not leaving. You're not impatient, you're not disappointed in how slowly I'm healing. You're just here, and you're kind. And if I cry a little tonight, that's okay. And if I don't, that's okay too. And if I lie here in silence, not knowing what I feel or think or need, that's still okay. Because you're not here for my performance. You're not here for neat prayers or tidy theology. You're here for my heart, my raw, itching, beautiful, confused heart. The one that still dares to hope, Even after all this, maybe the most sacred thing I can do tonight is stop trying so hard. Maybe holiness looks like curling up with my tears and letting you be the one who stays. Maybe surrender isn't waving a flag. Maybe it's whispering, I can't do this alone, and trusting that I won't have to. So I'm not going to wrestle with this pain tonight. I'm not going to try to solve it or explain it or outthink it. I'm just going to lie here and breathe and let this pain too be seen, be known, be loved, be held. Some nights the ache doesn't shout. It just lingers. Not loud, not sharp, just steady, like a quiet pressure you can't shake. And when you're alone with it, when the lights are low and the world has gone still, it suddenly feels like the whole room has become a mirror, reflecting everything you haven't said, everything you didn't process, everything that still hurts, even if it's been years, or maybe it only happened this morning. That's the strange thing about emotional pain. It doesn't follow rules. It doesn't age like memories do. It stays fresh in certain corners of your soul, untouched by time or reason. You think you've moved on. You think you're past it. Then out of nowhere, a scent, a song, a thought, and there it is again, like it never left. And tonight, you feel it again. That familiar ache, that whisper of something unresolved. Maybe you're not even sure what exactly hurts. It's not just one thing. It's layers, moments, disappointments that piled up when you weren't looking, losses that were never fully named, grief that got tucked away so life could go on. But now, in this stillness, it finds its way back to you, not to punish, not to haunt, but maybe, just maybe, to be healed. So here we are again. God, me, and the ache. The ache I've tried to silence with distraction. The ache I've learned to carry so well. Even I forget it's still there, until nights like this. You don't ask me to unpack it all at once. You're not rushing me into breakthroughs. You're not frustrated with how long it's taking. You just sit with me in it, and that alone is a kind of miracle. I don't need to perform grief or narrate my pain tonight. I just need to know that you're not afraid of it, that you don't turn away when I'm not okay, that you can hold me even when I don't know how to ask. That's all I need tonight, really. Just for you to stay, because the pain might not leave by morning. I know that, but neither will you, and maybe the healing begins right there in the knowing that I won't be left alone with this. I don't know what kind of healing I'll wake up with. Maybe something will shift, maybe nothing will. But I believe in the healing that happens even when we don't see it. The kind that's quiet, hidden, slow, like roots growing beneath the surface, like wounds closing in the dark. And maybe this pain doesn't need to be named tonight. Maybe it just needs to be seen and to be reminded that it's not unworthy of comfort just because it's been here a long time, or because I've hidden it, or because I've been functioning around it. It still matters. It still deserves rest. I still deserve rest. So I lay it down again, gently, not with force, not with expectation, just with trust that you're big enough to hold what I can't, that you're soft enough to not bruise what's already hurting, that you're near enough to hear the prayers I don't say out loud. There's something tender about this moment. The way you meet me here, not after I've processed, not once I've found the lesson, but right here, in the ache, in the uncertainty, in the still bleeding parts. You don't ask me to clean up for you. You just ask me to be honest. And tonight, this is my honesty. I'm hurting, God. I'm tired of pretending I'm not. I'm not angry, not panicked, just tired. And there's a kind of holiness in that too, I think. So I rest my soul in your hands, the ones that shaped me, the ones that understand every thread of sorrow in my chest, the ones that never grow weary of holding me, no matter how long it takes. Let this pain fall asleep with me tonight, God. Let it breathe slower. Let it soften. Let it curl up in your presence like a child who finally knows they're safe. No explanations needed. No justifications given. Just presence. Just nearness. And if I wake in the night still feeling this heaviness, remind me that you're still here, that healing isn't linear, that rest is still possible, even in sorrow, that grace doesn't run out at midnight. There's something about this kind of quiet, the kind that doesn't feel empty, but full of everything that's been waiting all day to be felt. The weight of what couldn't be said, the ache that didn't have space to breathe, the questions I tucked into the corners of my mind so I could keep moving. And now that everything else has slowed down, they return, not to overwhelm me, but because they've been patient, and because deep down they still believe there's room for them to be seen. I'm not trying to fix myself tonight. I don't have the energy for that. What I long for instead is softness, not the kind that erases the pain, but the kind that sits with it without rushing. I've tried to be strong. I've tried to keep everything together, to keep my chin up, to keep going. But there's a cost to that kind of survival, and I'm finally willing to admit I feel it. This pain, it's not a loud one. It doesn't interrupt or demand. It waits. It waits until I'm alone, until I'm still, until my heart is quiet enough to hear what it's been holding. And tonight, I can feel it clearly, not in a dramatic way, more like a low hum inside my chest, reminding me that I'm still healing, even if I don't look like I am. God, I don't know how to pray about this. There are no clean sentences, no well-formed requests, just this feeling, a deep, aching presence that asks to be acknowledged, not solved, just seen. And I trust that's enough, that you don't require me to articulate everything perfectly to be with me in it. You've always known how to meet me in silence, in the spaces between words, in the pauses between breaths. When I can't speak, you don't grow distant. You lean closer, not because you need my voice to hear me, but because you've always been able to listen with more than just ears. I think that's what I need most tonight. Not solutions, not answers, just a nearness that doesn't demand anything from me. The kind of presence that reminds me I'm not too broken to be held. The kind that doesn't measure me by how well I'm coping, how strong I appear. I've carried this quiet sorrow for a long time, not because I wanted to, but because I didn't know where else to place it. I couldn't lay it down in the middle of the day, surrounded by noise and responsibility. So I waited for the night, for this quiet moment to let it surface. And here it is. And here I am. And you're already here. You don't recoil from sadness. You don't expect me to be cheerful before I come to you. You don't ask me to justify this pain. You just make room for it. And in doing so, you make room for me. But I don't have to make this beautiful to make it sacred. I don't have to explain why I still hurt or why I feel heavy even after a good day. Pain doesn't always need a reason to be real, and healing doesn't always arrive with trumpets and light. Sometimes it comes in the form of a whisper that says, you don't have to carry this alone anymore. So I let the edges of this pain soften in your care. I stop trying to manage it. I stop pretending I don't feel it. I stop running, and instead I breathe. Slowly, fully, gently, and I let your peace stretch out across the ache like a warm blanket, not to make it disappear, but to keep it company. Some wounds don't need to be fixed tonight. They just need to be reminded that they're not forgotten, that there's a gentle hand resting nearby, that even in this pain, I'm still held. I'm still worthy of comfort. I won't force sleep. I won't chase peace. I'll let them come when they're ready. But I will stay here in this quiet surrender knowing you are already holding what I can't hold much longer. Maybe that's what love really is, not fixing what hurts, but staying near when it does. And you, God, are near. I feel it not in loud sighs, but in the way my chest loosens just a little, in the way my thoughts slow down enough to let one soft feeling in the way this bed, though familiar, feels a little safer tonight, in the way the dark doesn't seem quite as lonely when I remember you're in it too. If there's no healing tonight, there is at least holding. And maybe that's what I need more than anything, just to be held in my humanness, my fragility, my confusion, my questions, my need. So I close my eyes again, not expecting the pain to vanish, but hoping it will rest beside me, soothed by the same presence that steadies me. I won't make demands of this night. I won't put pressure on my soul. I'll just let this be what it is, a night where I bring the ache into the quiet and let the quiet become holy, because you're here. Some nights the weight isn't heavy because something happened. It's heavy because nothing changed. Because you woke up hoping to feel lighter, and instead everything sat in the same place it did yesterday. The same ache, the same memories, the same tired questions you don't even say out loud anymore. You go through the motions. You carry your responsibilities. You answer when people call your name, but inside you're quietly asking, will this ever feel different? And maybe tonight is one of those nights. The ones where you're too tired to cry, but not numb enough to ignore what's pressing on your heart. The ones where even your silence has layers, and you're not sure where to begin. But you see that, God, you never needed my words to understand me. You never needed my clarity to meet me in the middle of confusion. You've always known how to sit beside the kind of pain that doesn't have an end, the kind that creeps in during the pause between distractions, in the in-between moments when I stop trying to keep everything going. You don't ask me to turn it into poetry. You don't ask me to explain why it still lingers. You just come near, and somehow that makes the silence less sharp. That makes the room feel a little warmer, like there's something safe here, even when I don't feel safe in my own skin. And that's what I need tonight. Not a solution, not an answer, just presence, just proof that I don't have to be brave for you to stay. Because I'm tired of trying to sound okay. I'm tired of pretending that I've made peace with all the things I don't understand. I'm tired of minimizing what hurts just so I don't scare people off. And maybe I don't have to do that anymore. Maybe with you, I can tell the truth, not the polished version of it, but the raw, trembling truth that I carry when no one else is looking. The truth that says this still hurts, even if it shouldn't anymore. The truth that admits I don't know how to move forward even though everyone else seems to. The truth that aches in silence because it didn't feel like anyone could hold it gently enough. But you can, you always have. You hold the grief that never got a name, the disappointments that I tried to rationalize away, the moments I didn't let myself feel because I thought feeling would break me. You hold the version of me that never got to cry when it needed to, and the version that cried too much and never got comfort. You hold it all without fear, without judgment, without rushing me toward healing I'm not ready for. And tonight, that's enough, just to be held, just to rest in the knowledge that nothing in me is too much for you. Not the confusion, not the still bleeding wound, not the way I flinch at the idea of trusting again, not the exhaustion that lives beneath everything I say. You're still here, still unshaken by the mess I bring, still willing to be the quiet that surrounds my pain with gentleness, still willing to watch over me, even when I can't keep my eyes open long enough to pray it all out. I think there's something holy in that, in the way you let me come undone without trying to put me back together on a timeline, in the way you let my pain be what it is, without needing to make it teach me something right now, in the way you sit with me in this small, wordless space and somehow make it feel sacred And maybe that's enough for tonight. Not answers, not progress, just this steady truth that you see me, that you don't look away, that I'm allowed to be a person in process, that I don't have to earn your nearness. I just have to let myself be here and let you be here with me. So I close my eyes and whisper the only thing I can manage. Stay with the part of me that wants to give up. Stay with the ache that doesn't seem to shift no matter how much I rest or talk or cry. Stay with the questions I can't untangle. Stay with the hope that still flickers somewhere in me, even if I can't reach it tonight. Stay with this pain long enough for it to know it's not alone. Stay with me long enough for my heart to believe I'm still worth loving, even like this. And if I drift into sleep with all this still unresolved, then let my sleep be the offering. Let my rest be the trust I place in you. Let the ache find stillness, not because it's gone, but because it finally knows it doesn't have to carry itself through the night. Let it rest beside me, quiet in your presence. Let it be held like I'm held. Let it fall asleep too. There's something different about this kind of pain, the one that doesn't shout anymore, doesn't burn like it used to. It's quieter now, but heavier too, like a soft stone resting right beneath the surface, unnoticed by others, but always felt. You carry it through the day like it's part of your body, and no one sees the weight. But when the day ends, when the noise dies down and everything slows, there it is again. Not accusing, not dramatic, just present. And tonight, that presence feels almost familiar, like something I've grown used to, though I never meant to. I didn't choose to live this way, but here I am, lying in the dark, trying to rest, while something in me still aches without language. There's no crisis tonight, no sharp edges or breaking points. Just the steady ache that I can't name, but also can't ignore. I've learned how to live with it, to work around it, to smile in front of it. But I don't want to manage it anymore. I want to offer it to you, not because I expect you to make it vanish, but because I can't keep pretending I'm fine. And I know you never asked me to. I know you're not waiting for me to be more stable, more grateful, more faithful. You meet me here, exactly as I am, full of questions I don't say out loud, grief I don't understand, and weariness I can't explain. You've always been patient. That's what calms me the most. You're not in a rush to teach me something tonight. You're not holding a clipboard waiting to track my spiritual progress. You're not disappointed in me for still hurting. You simply stay. And that's the miracle I keep coming back to. That you stay again and again. In the tension, in the quiet, in the moments I withdraw and don't know how to pray. You don't require volume or clarity or beauty from me. You just ask for truth. And the truth is, I'm worn down. This ache has carved out space in me I didn't know existed, and I don't know what to do with that. But maybe I don't need to do anything. Maybe naming it, or even just acknowledging it, is enough for now. I used to think healing meant the pain would be gone, but lately I'm beginning to believe it also means knowing I'm not alone in it. They are here, not waiting for the ending, but holding me in the middle. You don't hurry me toward resolution. You don't interrupt with answers. You just draw near, and in this nearness, I breathe a little deeper. Not because the ache is gone, but because I remember I'm not abandoned in it, and that shift, as small as it is, matters. So I'm not going to force anything tonight. I won't try to reframe this feeling or label it or reshape it into something more palatable. I'll just let it be here and let you be here with me. That's the gentlest thing I can do for my soul. To stop pretending this isn't hard, to stop performing resilience, to simply be human right here with everything that still stings, and to let that humanity be sacred too. I'm not asking you to erase the pain tonight. I'm asking for comfort in it, not a solution, but shelter. not a breakthrough, but a breath. Something to remind me that even here, especially here, I am known. I am not invisible. I am not too complicated. I am not too much. I am yours. And you, God, are not fragile in the face of my sorrow. You're not afraid of it. You're not tired of it. You're not walking away because the healing has taken longer than expected. You're not offended by how often I bring this to you. You receive it again, just like you did last night, and the night before that, and every night I couldn't say the words, but hoped you'd still understand. You always do. That's the kind of love I want to fall asleep under. Not the kind that fixes everything by morning, but the kind that promises I'll never carry this alone. The kind that holds space for my uncertainty. The kind that doesn't require me to be anything other than present. The kind that stays. So I rest in that. In your staying. In your unwavering quiet. That doesn't pressure or prod. In a soft presence that fills the room, not with answers, but with peace. Real peace. The kind that doesn't deny the pain but knows how to sit with it until the sting dulls. The kind that wraps around me like warmth in the coldest places of my heart. Tonight I let go of the expectation to wake up healed. I release the pressure to wake up changed. Instead, I just ask for rest. Real, deep rest. The kind that doesn't depend on how I feel. The kind that reaches into the places where pain has built its home and whispers, "You're not alone here." That's what I want to fall asleep to. Not certainty, not victory, just presence. Just the quiet confidence that you are near, that you are kind, that even this ache is safe in your hand. And if I wake in the night, I won't fight it. I'll just remember that you're still here. I'll let the stillness remind me that nothing I carry is ever too much for you, that no moment of sadness disqualifies me from being loved, that I'm allowed to be a work in progress, even in the dark, even in the quiet, even in the ache. So if this pain stays a little longer, it's okay. It won't scare me tonight because it's not alone anymore, and neither am I. It's strange how something can hurt even when there's no fresh wound. You go through your day, talk to people, respond to messages, maybe even laugh a little, but underneath it all, something quietly pulses. Not with intensity, but with familiarity. This ache has become part of your rhythm, not welcome, not wanted, but known. Like background music that's been playing so long you almost forget it's there, until the world goes silent and suddenly you hear nothing else. Tonight is one of those nights. The kind where the pain isn't new, but it still feels personal, where I'm not unraveling, not collapsing, just aching. And it's hard to describe this ache, because it's not tied to one event, one person, one memory. It's spread out across time and thought, like fog. Some of it is old grief. Some of it is unspoken disappointment. Some of it is loneliness. I can't admit when the sun is up, but here it is now, honest and unavoidable, in the stillness of night. And yet, I don't feel shame for feeling this anymore. Not here, not with you. You don't shame pain. You don't tell it to hurry up and heal. You don't roll your eyes at the fact that it's still here. You just welcome it. You welcome me. That's what draws me in. That's what makes it safe to let down my guard and just feel what I've been holding back all day. I think that's part of why this hurts the way it does, because I've spent so much time trying to protect everyone else from my sadness, smiling when I don't feel like it, saying I'm fine because it feels easier than opening a door I'm not sure I can close. But now, finally, I've reached the part of the day where I don't have to perform. And even though it's hard, there's something freeing about being this honest, about feeling what's real and not editing it to sound lighter, prettier, safe. You can handle my reality. That's why I come to you. Not because you demand my best, but because you're not threatened by my worst. And tonight, this ache is what I have to give. Not a declaration of faith, not a polished prayer, just present, just this aching heart that's tired of pretending not to hurt. I've carried so much without knowing how to release it. Maybe because I thought I had to earn rest. Maybe because I wasn't sure you'd receive what I couldn't explain. But now I know better. Now I know you don't need explanations to meet me. You don't need resolutions to stay. You don't need anything from me, really. Just the permission to come close. And tonight I give you that permission again. Not because I'm strong, but because I'm tired. So I lay it down. Not perfectly. Not all at once. But I begin right here. I let you see what I've been hiding. I let you near what I've tried to carry alone. I let this pain fall into your hands, piece by piece, knowing you won't mishandle it, knowing you won't walk away, knowing you won't try to teach me a lesson before you offer comfort. You've always led with kindness, and that's what I need now. Not a timeline, not a to-do list, not a spiritual checklist, just kindness. The kind that says, you're allowed to be here, even like this. The kind that wraps around me without asking me to change first. The kind that doesn't rush the process, but holds me steady through it. Maybe healing begins not when the pain disappears, but when it feels safe enough to be seen. Maybe tonight isn't about answers, but about breathing again. About letting my soul know it's not forgotten. About reminding myself that even in sorrow, I'm still loved. And I am. I know that here. I feel it in the way the room feels softer with you in it. I feel it in the way my chest expands just a little deeper when I remember you're listening. I feel it in the way this ache, though still present, no longer feels like something I have to manage alone. So I give myself permission to rest, not because everything is resolved, but because you are here and your presence is enough. It always has been. Even when I didn't notice, even when I doubted, even when I tried to numb this pain instead of naming it, you were still here. Still willing to meet me the moment I slowed down enough to see you. Let this night be a soft place for both of us. Me, the weary one, trying to find rest. You, the faithful one who never leaves. Let it be a space where healing doesn't have to be loud or immediate, where grief doesn't have to be solved, where the ache doesn't have to be hidden anymore. Let it be enough that I'm here, that I've stopped running, that I'm willing to sit in the silence with you. Let it be enough that I've chosen to feel instead of escape, to be real instead of fine, to believe, even quietly, that I am still being held. I didn't realize how much I needed gentleness until everything inside me started to unravel in silence. Not from chaos, not from loud grief, but from the quiet weight of things that never got spoken. Tonight, I'm not overwhelmed by one big thing. It's the small things, the subtle aches, the moments I dismissed because they weren't urgent enough to ask for help, but they've added up, woven themselves into the fabric of my days. And now, as I lie here in the dark, I can feel them stretching beneath the surface, a fabric pulled too tight for too long. I've learned to carry more than I should, often without realizing it, and somewhere along the way, I forgot that I was allowed to be soft. I forgot that I didn't always have to be okay, that I could let down the weight for a while and simply exist without explanation. So here I am. God, existing, breathing, not asking for rescue tonight, just for nearness. I don't need fireworks. I don't need sudden change. I just need to know that this ache matters to you. That even though I've made peace with carrying it quietly, you still care about it deeply. That you haven't grown used to it the way I have. That it still catches your attention, even when I've started to ignore it just to get through the day. You haven't numbed yourself to my pain, and that means I don't have to either. You are not the voice that tells me to toughen up. You are not the pressure that tells me I'm weak for feeling this. You are not the silence that shames me for not healing faster. You're the comfort that lingers without demand, the warmth that waits without hurry, the quiet presence that doesn't shift when I show you the parts I've been afraid to reveal. You don't make my pain the condition of your presence. You make your presence the comfort for my pain, and that changes everything. Not instantly, but deep. I don't know what tomorrow will feel like. Maybe I'll wake up lighter. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll still carry some of this ache in the background. But maybe I'll carry it differently. Not as something I have to manage alone, but as something I've let you see, let you touch, let you hold. And maybe that's the beginning of healing. Not the removal of pain, but the sharing of it. The knowing that I don't have to keep this locked away anymore. There's relief in that. In finally being honest, in letting this be what it is, instead of what I think it should be by now. I'm not ashamed of needing comfort. I'm not embarrassed by the tears that come without warning. I'm not apologizing for the ache that returns, even when everything looks fine on the outside. I've lived with silence long enough. I've carried quiet pain for years. But now I'm learning that silence doesn't have to mean separation, that the pain doesn't isolate me from you. It draws you nearer, and you're here now. I can't see you, but I feel the way the air softens when I speak honestly. I feel how my breath deepens when I stop pretending. I feel how my shoulders loosen when I remember you're not disappointed in me. You don't measure my worth by how well I'm coping. You see beyond that. You hold space for the complexity in me, the sorrow that coexists with hope, the strength that feels thin some nights, the desire to heal mixed with the fear of trying. You're not asking me to sort it all out tonight. You're just asking me to bring it to you, and I am, as best I can. Slowly, awkwardly, tenderly, I'm placing it in your hands. This heaviness that I've woven into my identity, this quiet ache that has followed me into too many nights, this need I haven't known how to name. I'm not asking you to erase it. I'm just asking you to stay near while I let it breathe, while I let myself breathe. Let this be a night where nothing has to be solved, where the goal isn't clarity, but comfort, where the ache doesn't have to make sense in order to be soothed. Let this be the place where I stop fighting the way I feel and start accepting that it matters, that I matter. Even like this, especially like this. Let this be the moment I believe, even if quietly, that you haven't forgotten me, that you still have space in your heart for this kind of sorrow, that my quiet prayer carries just as much weight as the loudest praise, that my tears are seen even when I don't speak, that my being here, open, raw, exhausted, is enough. And if sleep finds me in the middle of this prayer, let that be okay. Let rest come like an answer I didn't know I needed. Let it come not because everything is better, but because I've stopped hiding. Let it cover me like your kindness always does. Gently, fully, patiently. Let my heart rest, knowing you're still here. And let this pain, this ache, this quiet burden fall asleep too. I've noticed something lately, the way I tense up at night without even realizing it, as if I'm bracing for something I can't name. It's not fear, exactly, not dread. It's more like a quiet anticipation of discomfort, like my body remembers the ache before I've even let myself feel it. That's what happens when pain stays too long. It doesn't always show up as tears or thoughts. Sometimes it settles into your posture, into the way you breathe, into the way you try to fall asleep but can't quite relax into it. And when I lie down like this, the tension reminds me that even if I've learned how to function during the day, my body still holds on to what my mind tries to forget. But tonight I don't want to carry that into sleep again. I don't want to keep bracing for sorrow like it's inevitable. I want to try something gentler. I want to see if maybe I can let go just a little. Not of the ache entirely. I know it doesn't work that way. but maybe of the belief that I have to guard myself every second, that if I'm not constantly alert, everything will fall apart. Maybe I can let that part of me soften just for a while, just enough to rest. God, I don't come to you tonight with a list of needs. I come because I've run out of ways to keep pretending this doesn't affect me. I come not to be fixed, but to be met. I don't need solutions right now. I need a place to exhale, a place where the ache can exist without being asked to explain itself, a place where I can feel something other than pressure to be fine. And I know you offer that. I've felt it before, that quiet kind of safety that doesn't erase my pain, but holds it with reverence. You're not uncomfortable with sadness. You don't shrink back from emotions that linger longer than expected. You don't write me off when I keep returning with the same ache, and you never once tell me that I should be further along by now. You just stay, and that staying has become an anchor for me. Even when I don't feel it, I know you're there. Even when I question, I know you don't leave. Even when I ache without words, I know you're already listening. There's something holy about being heard like that. Not interrupted, not corrected, not redirected, just heard, just known, just allowed to be. I've needed that more than I realized. I've needed someone who sees my silence as sacred, not as a failure to be articulate. Someone who doesn't ask me to summarize my sorrow in a way that makes sense. Someone who doesn't rush to remind me of hope before I've been allowed to grieve. I've heard too many voices that try to skip past the ache, that try to wrap pain in a bow before it's been understood. But you don't do that. You know better. You know that some wounds take time, that some nights require nothing more than presence, that some hearts need to be held before they can be healed. So I let you hold mine now. It's not elegant tonight. It's tired. It's messy. It's carrying things that don't even make sense to me yet. But it's honest. And that's all you ever ask. You never wanted performance. You never demanded that I bring you polished feelings. You wanted this. My truth, my ache, my midnight vulnerability. And I think that's what brings the most peace. Not that the ache is gone, it isn't, but that it's been seen, that I've stopped hiding it, that I've let myself be real. I don't have to minimize what hurts. I don't have to justify the tears I haven't cried yet. I don't have to apologize for how long it's taking me to feel okay again. I can just be here, in the stillness, with you. Let this moment stretch wide enough for rest. Not because everything is finished, but because something has shifted, because I've chosen honesty, because I've let you into the places I usually guard too tightly, because I've remembered that pain doesn't disqualify me from comfort, it invites it. And if I drift off still feeling tender, that's all right. If I wake up and the ache is still close, I'll remember that I'm not walking through it alone, that you're with me in the places where no one else can reach, that you know the hidden layers of this pain and don't find them overwhelming, that you are endlessly gentle with the parts of me I'm still learning how to face. So, let this body rest. Let this mind loosen its grip. Let this ache stop performing. Let this night be what it needs to be. Quiet, honest, wrapped in grace. And let this pain, slowly, kindly, finally, fall asleep too. I used to think healing would feel like light breaking in. Sudden, obvious, unmistakable. Like the pain would just lift one day and I'd feel new, whole, free. But now, after all these nights, I've come to believe that healing often moves more quietly than that. Sometimes it doesn't feel like light at all. Sometimes it feels like sitting in the dark and realizing I'm not sitting in it alone. It feels like the moment I stop running from the ache and start acknowledging it without It feels like letting go of the idea that I have to be okay to be held. It feels like this lying here, still hurting, but no longer pretending that I don't. Maybe this is what surrender really is. Not a dramatic letting go, but a slow unclenching. The decision to stop managing the ache and start being honest about it. The courage to speak softly. I can't keep carrying this alone, even if I've said it before, even if I'll need to say it again. And I think you meet me in that space, not when I've found strength, but when I've finally given myself permission to be weak. You never said I had to earn comfort. You never once required me to figure it all out before you would stay. I made up those rules. I absorbed them from places that confuse performance with worth. But you don't play by those rules. You meet me in the collapse, in the stillness, in the hollow spaces I thought disqualified me from closeness. You come near, not after the pain is processed, but right in the middle of it, when I'm too tired to wrap it in nice words, when I don't have the energy to make sense of it, when all I can do is lay here and breathe. And you don't mind that. You don't need my pain to be eloquent. You don't need my heart to be tidy. You just need it to be open. Even cracked open. Even barely. Because you can enter through the smallest space. You always have. And once you're in, you never rush out. So I rest in that tonight, in your staying, in your kindness, in the truth that nothing I carry is too much for you. Not the thoughts I've tried to push away. Not the fatigue that keeps catching up to me. Not the quiet grief I keep reliving when no one's watching. You see it all, and you stay. And that kind of presence starts to loosen the tightest places in me. I don't need the ache to end tonight. I just need to know that it matters to you. That you're not indifferent. That you don't overlook the small, hidden sorrows. The ones that don't get spoken aloud because they feel too ordinary to name. You see, even those, you tend to them gently. You whisper peace into places I didn't know was still hurting. And slowly, gently, the ache becomes less sharp. Not gone, not forgotten, just softened in the warmth of being known. There's no formula for this. No perfect prayer. No guaranteed release. Just presence, just trust, just this moment. And maybe that's enough. Maybe the miracle isn't that the pain leaves, but that love stays, that comfort finds its way in without needing permission, that grace shows up again without a lecture, without a clock, without a condition. So I lie here now, not asking you to fix me, but to rest with me, to place your peace over the places that still tremble, to stay close while I do the slow, quiet work of being human. Not trying to hurry through this, and trying to be here, fully, honestly, gently, and trying to let this pain be what it is, without fear that it will ruin me, and trying to believe that I can be loved in the middle, not just at the end. If I fall asleep still aching, let that be okay. Let the ache rest too. Let it be soothed by your presence, by the simple miracle that you're here, and I don't have to carry this alone anymore. I'm starting to realize that there's a difference between being strong and being silent. I used to think silence meant strength, holding it in, pressing on, keeping steady, no matter what I felt. But now, I know that kind of silence can slowly close me off from the very healing I long for. Because when I stop speaking even to myself about what hurts, it doesn't disappear. It settles. It takes up space beneath the surface and shows up in places I least expect. Fatigue I can't shake. Tension I can't explain. Moments of irritability when I'm actually just sad. And that's what tonight feels like. Not a breaking point, but a realization that I've held too much for too long in quiet. And that I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to live like my pain is an inconvenience. I don't want to keep tucking it away just because it's not as loud as someone else's. I don't want to measure whether it's valid based on how visible it is. It hurts, and that's enough. It matters, because I matter, even when I'm quiet, even when I'm unsure, even when I don't have the language to describe exactly what's wrong. Tonight isn't about collapsing. It's about opening. It's about sitting with what's real without trying to reshape it. I've spent enough time reshaping things, rewording my pain so it sounds less dramatic, reframing my feelings so they don't make anyone uncomfortable, repackaging my sadness so it looks like gratitude. But under all those versions, the truth still waits, still aches, still hopes someone will look at it without trying to change it. And you do, God. You've never asked me to change the shape of my pain to fit some expectation. You've just asked me to be here with you in it. Not cleaned up, not resolved, not inspirational, just here. And that's something sacred, that I can show up without pretending, that I can lie down tonight and let the ache be what it is without fearing rejection, that I can trust you to hold me exactly where I am, not where I should be. I don't need to solve anything tonight. I just need to breathe, to make room in my heart for softness again, to let my body stop bracing, to allow comfort without demanding certainty. And maybe that's what healing looks like right now, not fixing, but softening, not erasing pain, but refusing to keep punishing myself for feeling it. I've carried stories I never told, regrets I never processed, fears I tried to laugh off because they felt too heavy to name. And they're still here, not because I failed to let go, but because I never had the space to hold them gently enough. Until now. Until this night, until this quiet moment where I finally believe I'm allowed to feel everything I couldn't before, that it's safe enough, that you won't run, you never run. That's why I keep coming back, even when I'm unsure what I'm asking, even when my heart feels full of loose ends and unanswered questions, even when I'm too tired to feel hopeful. I come back because you never left her. Because you've always met me in the middle, not just at the finish line, because you know how to hold hearts that don't know what they need. So I won't rush to name this ache. I won't pressure myself to transform it into something useful. I'll let it rest. I'll let it be present, without judgment. I'll give it the dignity of being felt, and I'll trust that you're doing more in this silence than I can see. That you're not just watching, you're with me in it. That you're not waiting for the ache to pass before you draw near. You're already here, and that's enough. Let this be the night I remember that even unspoken pain deserves comfort. Let this be the night I stop disqualifying myself from gentleness. Let this be the night I trust that you're not disappointed in how long I've been carrying this. Let this be the night I stop measuring my healing against someone else's pace. Let this be the night I rest. And if nothing shifts, if the ache still lingers in the morning, let me carry knowing I'm not carrying it alone. Let that be the difference. Let that be the beginning of peace. Let that be the quiet miracle that unfolds inside me, one breath at a time. Let this pain, old, silent, misunderstood, fall asleep with me tonight. There's something so humbling about realizing how long I've lived with pain without even noticing the toll. When it first arrived, I felt it sharply, like a storm, sudden, overwhelming, impossible to ignore. But after time, it changed. It didn't leave, it simply shifted form. It became background noise, a dullness beneath the surface, a subtle ache that blended into the rhythm of my life. And maybe that's what I'm grieving most tonight. Not just the pain itself, but how familiar it's become. How easily I've learned to live around it, to move forward, while something inside me still stays behind. I think I expected pain to pass in a straight line, but I've come to understand that it loops, it revisits, it waits, it echoes. And even though I've grown, even though I've made progress in ways others can't see, it still returns. Not always as intensely, but still present, still asking to be acknowledged, still needing care. And tonight, I feel it, not like a collapse, but like a slow remembering that there are still parts of me that haven't exhaled in a long time. So I lie here now, not trying to rush toward healing, not trying to ignore what rises up. I'm just here, letting the ache speak in its own way, letting you see me in the middle of it. I don't need to craft a beautiful prayer. I don't need to gather myself up and try again. I don't need to sound wise or composed. I just need to be honest. And the truth is, I feel worn down, not broken, just tired, not faithless, just quiet, not hopeless, just low on strength. And I think you're okay with that. I think you meet me right here, in this in-between, where I'm not falling apart, but I'm not exactly whole either, where I'm still functioning, but also still aching, where I'm doing what I can, and that has to be enough, because that's all I have tonight. A soul that's showing up, even tired, a heart that's still open, even unsure, a quiet cry for comfort that doesn't need to be loud to reach. You hear me, always. You heard me long before I spoke. You saw the weight on my shoulders before I even called it by name. You felt the fatigue in my chest before I admitted I was overwhelmed. And you never asked me to explain myself. You just made space. You just made room for my sadness and let it be safe in your hands. That's what I need most right now. Not a change in circumstances, not a sudden wave of joy, just safety, just softness, just a sense that I can finally stop pretending I'm not tired, that I can finally stop minimizing my pain so I don't inconvenience anyone, that I can just breathe and let you hold the things I've been gripping for far too long. So I let go tonight, not completely, but just enough to rest. I let go of the pressure to have answers. I let go of the fear that I'm falling behind. I let go of the silent shame that whispers, you should be over this by now. I let go of the belief that I have to fix everything before I can be held. I let go of all of it, one breath at a time, and I let you come closer. Not because I'm strong, not because I'm healed, but because I'm ready to stop doing this part alone. Let this be enough tonight. This prayer, this moment, this quiet willingness to be known again. Let it be a turning point, even if nothing changes on the outside. Let it remind me that there's still beauty in the showing up, that there's still grace in being honest, that you're still here, not because I've earned it, but because that's who you are. Let me fall asleep, not in perfect peace, but in the comfort of being seen. Let this pain, quiet, familiar, and still healing, find rest too. There's something sacred about making it to the end of the day, still honest, still soft, still open to presence, even when nothing feels resolved. I used to believe healing had to look like closure, like moving on, like leaving all traces of sorrow behind. But tonight I've learned something deeper, that healing is also choosing to stay present with what still hurts, choosing to breathe through the moments that feel heavy, choosing to return to you again, not with polished gratitude, but with quiet trust. Not because the pain is gone, but because I no longer want to hide it. This ache I carry, it doesn't define me, but it does deserve compassion, not rejection, not erasure, not one more night of silence. And I think for the first time in a long time, I'm allowing it to rest beside me, not as my enemy, not as something to conquer, but as something that has lived with me long enough to ask for tenderness. And I can offer that now, because you've shown me how. You didn't try to rush me through my pain. You didn't give me formulas or ultimatums. You gave me yourself, quiet, steady. That kind of nearness is hard to explain. It doesn't always change how I feel, but it changes how I carry what I feel. It makes room for breath, for softness, for humanity. It gives me permission to unclench, to exhale, to exist without needing to be better than I am in this moment. And maybe that's the gift I've been missing all this time, the freedom to be held before I'm healed. So here I am, at the end of this long, slow prayer, with the same ache in my chest, yes, but also with more space inside me, more room for grace, more room for peace to settle, even if gently, even if slowly. I didn't need a miracle tonight. I just needed to stop pretending, and I did. And somehow that honesty became the miracle I didn't know I was praying for. I'm allowed to hurt and still hope. I'm allowed to grieve and still be growing. I'm allowed to rest, even if everything isn't solved. And most of all, I'm allowed to be loved in this exact condition, without edits, without progress, without pretending. And you have proven that love over and over again. You didn't need my words to understand me. You didn't need my certainty to stay. You saw the ache beneath the silence, and you came anyway. And that changed me. I'll carry this with me now. Not just the ache, but also the awareness that I'm not alone in it, that I never was. That even when I was too numb to notice, too afraid to speak, too tired to cry, you were there. You still are, and you always will be. Not as a distant promise, but as an ever-present companion, in joy, in doubt, in pain, in the slow process of healing that unfolds in unseen ways. So tonight, as I close my eyes and let the silence deepen, I do so with a different kind of stillness inside me. Not the silence of fear, but the quiet of surrender, of having said the things I needed to say, of having allowed my heart to be visible, of having made space for the pain to stop performing, to stop guarding, to stop trying to earn comfort, and just rest. Let my body rest now, not out of exhaustion alone, but out of trust. Let my thoughts release their grip, knowing that I don't have to carry tomorrow's weight tonight. Let my breath slow, not because I've solved everything, but because I'm no longer trying to. Let my heart find stillness in knowing it is not forgotten, not invisible, not too much. And let this pain, this long-kept, long-carried, long-ignored pain, fall asleep beside me. Not dismissed, not denied, just held, just seen, just finally allowed to rest too.